Have you ever wondered how a tiny sliver of silicon can run a video game, stream a movie, or let you video call someone on the other side of the planet? It all comes down to something so small you can't see it with your naked eye, but so powerful it changed the world. I'm talking about the transistor. Let's start simple. Imagine a light switch on your wall. You flip it one way, the light turns on. Flip it the other way, the light turns off. That's it. A transistor does basically the same thing. Except it's microscopic and it doesn't control a light bulb, it controls electricity flowing through a tiny piece of material, usually silicon. So when you hear someone say a transistor is a switch, that's exactly what they mean. It can be in an on state or an off state. Now here's the thing, that on-off behavior is the foundation of all digital computing. Every piece of information in your phone or laptop, every photo, every word, every calculation, is stored and processed as a sequence of those on-off signals. We call them ones and zeros. And every single one and zero is handled by a transistor. So when you ask Siri a question or type a Google search, you're basically orchestrating trillions of tiny switches flipping on and off in perfect order. Kind of mind-blowing, right? But that's not all a transistor can do. It can also act as an amplifier. Think of a hearing aid. You speak softly into a microphone, and it comes out louder into your ear. Inside that hearing aid, transistors take a weak electrical signal and boost it into a stronger one. This amplification property is what made transistors revolutionary in the first place. Before them, we used bulky, hot, fragile vacuum tubes to do the same job. Transistors were smaller, cheaper, and more reliable. That's how we got portable radios, then pocket calculators, and eventually smartphones that fit in your jeans. So how in the world do we fit billions of these things onto a single chip? I mean, billions. A modern smartphone processor might have around 10 to 15 billion transistors. How does that even work? It comes down to the manufacturing process. Chip makers like TSMC, that's Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, use photolithography. Imagine projecting a microscopic stencil onto a silicon wafer, then etching away material and depositing layers of metal and silicon in patterns. It's like printing a circuit, but at the scale of atoms. The word node you hear in the news, like 5 nanometer or 3 nanometer, refers to the size of each transistor. A nanometer is 1/billionth of a meter. So 5 nanometer transistors are so small that you could fit tens of thousands of them across the width of a human hair. That's how you pack billions onto a chip the size of your fingernail. This incredible shrinking of transistors over decades is what we call Moore's Law. Back in 1965, Intel co-founder Gordon Moore noticed that the number of transistors on a chip was doubling roughly every 2 years. And amazingly, that prediction held true for over 50 years. Every couple of years, transistors got smaller, chips got more powerful, and costs went down. That's why your smartphone today has more computing power than the supercomputers used to send astronauts to the moon. But here's a common misconception: Moore's Law is not a law of physics. It's an observation, a trend that the industry worked very hard to maintain. And lately, it's getting harder to keep up. Transistors are now so tiny that we're bumping into the limits of how small you can make them before electrons start doing weird quantum things, like tunneling through barriers they shouldn't be able to cross. So while we still see improvements, the doubling pace has slowed down. That's why you hear so much buzz about new packaging techniques like CoWoS, which we'll talk about in another episode. It's the industry's way of keeping performance climbing even when shrinking alone isn't enough. Now, why should you, as an investor, care about transistors? Because the companies that make them, or make the machines that make them, are at the heart of the global tech economy. When you hear about TSMC building a new fab in Arizona or Japan, or when you see news about ASML's extreme ultraviolet lithography machines. You're watching the engine of Moore's law in action. Understanding transistors helps you understand why these companies are so important, and why their investments and innovations can move markets. Next time, we'll dive deeper into Moore's law and why it matters for investors, how the slowdown in transistor scaling is reshaping the entire semiconductor industry. Subscribe to Taiwan Tech Pulse for more Taiwan Tech 101.